Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Mull for Thursday, the 2nd of May. Working through the letter to the Hebrews with McShane, we read chapter 7 today, part of an ongoing discussion about the high priesthood of Jesus. And the writer points out that it was promised in the first covenant that a new priest would come in the order of Melchizedek, not of the Aaronic priesthood. And this would be a turning point. And they then point out that the reason for this is that old covenant, that first priesthood, couldn't make anything perfect. If perfection could have been attained through the Levitical priesthood, he says there wouldn't have been need for another priesthood. And in verse 18 he says, the former regulation is set aside because it was useless, for the law made nothing perfect. And if God is perfect and heaven is perfect, if we're not perfect, we are excluded. And if the law couldn't make us perfect, then it didn't serve purpose to get us into heaven and to get us into God's presence. It might have highlighted our need, it would highlight our shortcomings, it would highlight our sin, our need for a Savior, but it wouldn't actually deliver. And then he continues, now we have a priest in Jesus. Because Jesus lives forever, he has a permanent priesthood, and therefore he says he's able to save completely those who come to God through him. And the writer just highlights that it's all about Jesus. The Old Testament, all the laws and the rituals put in place were to highlight our need for a Savior, our need for forgiveness, the need for sacrifice, the need to be made right with God. And it just didn't work. It wasn't there to do it because God knew it couldn't do it. The Old Covenant was not a ladder to climb to heaven by trying harder. As I've said before, it was a mirror to help us see ourselves as we truly are, sinful, failing, in desperate need of a Savior. And Jesus comes as the final high priest, the great high priest, in the order of Melchizedek, and he is able to save completely, forever, those who come to God through him. And so we have this great hope that in Jesus our future is secure. And that's the good news, that's the gospel. We come to Jesus and he transforms us. He gives us life. He opens the gates of eternity for us. And therefore we can step into the world with faith, and we can step into the world and do all the right things. We can step into the world and live the way he calls us to live and be an example and let our light shine, not so that we get to heaven, but because we're going to heaven because of him. So be encouraged with that thought. Our future is secure because we have in Jesus a great high priest who is able to save completely forever those who come to God through him. That's us. Be encouraged, be challenged, be blessed.